They said time stops for the dead. But deep in the Amazon rainforest, time didn't stop. It waited. 7 years after British explorer Dr. Nathan Cole vanished without a trace, a local fisherman named Mateo Alvarez pulled something impossible from the riverbank mud. A silver field watch, its glass scratched, the strap frayed, yet somehow still ticking. It was the same watch Cole wore the day he disappeared. The locals called it El Reloj del Alma, the soul's clock. They believe that when something in the jungle refuses to die, it's because it's waiting to finish a story. Back in 2015, Dr. Nathan Cole had set out to trace an uncharted tributary of the Amazon, a stretch of water so dense with mist and silence it was nicknamed the Vein of Ghosts. He wasn't searching for gold or lost cities. He was searching for something older, a tribe rumored to live entirely disconnected from time. Cole was obsessed with what he called the silent civilization. His journal entries, recovered later from his camp, were strange, filled with sketches of eyes carved into trees, spirals in the sand, and something he called the breathing earth. Every night, the jungle exhales. The air thickens. It watches me. I feel observed. On his final night, Cole radioed his team downstream. 8:47 p.m. He said he could hear voices coming from the river. 8:59 p.m. He whispered, "It's not human." Then silence. They searched for 3 weeks. No body, no gear, nothing but a torn tent and a single boot half buried in the mud. The jungle had taken him, like it takes everything. Until now, when Mateo found the watch, it wasn't lying still. It was half sunk in wet soil, but the glass was warm, unnaturally warm, as though someone had just been wearing it. The ticking wasn't steady either. It pulsed like a heartbeat. At first, Mateo thought he'd stumbled upon cursed gold. But when he brought it home, the river changed. That night, villagers reported strange lights along the shore, moving like lanterns under the water. Dogs refused to bark, and somewhere, deep inside the forest, a voice began to echo in the dark. A voice calling the name Nathan. Whatever disappeared 7 years ago wasn't finished yet. When the watch was delivered to the British Embassy, investigators discovered something chilling. The time on it matched the exact second Cole's final radio call went silent. Time didn't pass him by. It followed him. The first morning on the river was deceptively peaceful. Mist coiled over the water like the breath of something ancient, and the jungle hummed with life, an orchestra of hidden eyes. Thomas stood at the bow of his dugout canoe, clutching his map. Each red line marked where he'd been, but beyond the next bend, the ink stopped. That was where no man had returned to draw the rest. Locals had begged him not to go further. The Kirupara's Bend, they called it, a place where compasses spun, lights flickered, and boats vanished. The forest protects itself, one elder had whispered, and it remembers those who trespass. Thomas had only smiled. He had heard similar warnings before every expedition. But there was something about the old man's eyes, that raw, unshakable fear, that made him glance at the tree line more than once. The river narrowed. Branches arched above, forming a green cathedral, dark and humid. The sound of howler monkeys faded, replaced by an eerie silence. Thomas's companion, Joao, a native guide with years on the river, suddenly stopped paddling. "Sir," Joao muttered, "we should turn back. The river's breathing wrong." Thomas frowned. Breathing wrong. Joao pointed to the water. It was trembling, not from current, from vibration, as though something massive moved below. Before Thomas could reply, a log floated past, except it wasn't a log. It had eyes. A black caiman, easily 5 meters long, glided silently beside them before disappearing beneath the murk. That night, they made camp along a small embankment. The fire crackled, but it brought little comfort. The jungle at night was different, predatory. Every rustle made Joao clutch his machete. Then came the scream. Not human, not animal, something in between. It echoed through the canopy, long and wet, like metal tearing through flesh. Thomas froze, his pen hovering over his notebook. Joao's face turned ashen. "Kirupara," Joao whispered. "He's angry." Thomas forced a laugh. "It's just a jaguar." But deep down, he didn't believe it. Not entirely. Around midnight, Thomas woke to find Joao gone. His sleeping mat lay empty, machete missing. Footprints led to the river, then stopped. Only one thing remained, a single boot, half sunk in the mud. He called out into the darkness, his voice trembling. No answer came. The forest swallowed his words whole. Thomas stayed awake until dawn, clutching his lantern. The light sputtered as though struggling to breathe. When the sun finally rose, he found something strange glinting beside the river. A carved wooden idol, half buried in the sand. Its face was human, but its feet were turned backward. He pocketed it. A mistake, because from that moment on, the jungle began to whisper his name. By the third day, Thomas was no longer sure where the river ended and his own mind began. The map he clung to was useless now. The landscape seemed to shift overnight. What was once open water had turned into choking vines and tangles of roots, and every direction led back to the same stretch of riverbank, as if the jungle had folded in on itself. Joao's disappearance haunted him. The natives' laughter, his warnings, all swallowed by the river. Thomas tried to rationalize it. Perhaps a jaguar dragged him away. Perhaps he fled in panic. But reason had little place here. Every night, he heard footsteps just beyond the reach of his firelight. Bare feet, moving in circles. On the fourth day, the river began to smell of iron, thick and metallic. Thomas followed it downstream, and there, half submerged in the shallows, he found bones. Dozens of them, some animal, some unmistakably human. Skulls with deep bite marks, femurs split open as if gnawed. He crouched to take a closer look when something brushed his leg beneath the surface. He froze, heart hammering. Slowly, he looked down. The water rippled, then stilled. He moved a step back, but his boots sank into something soft. Mud, he thought, until it twitched. Thomas stumbled backward, staring in horror as the mud surfaced. Hundreds of piranhas writhing in a frenzy, their teeth flashing like glass shards. They tore at the carcass beneath, the water turning crimson. He staggered away, slipping on the slick riverbank, and landed hard beside a rock. Only it wasn't a rock. It was a skull. He scrambled up, panting, covered in silt and blood that wasn't his. That's when he saw it, carved into the nearest tree. His name, Thomas. The letters gouged deep, dripping with sap that looked disturbingly like blood. He stared, shaking. "Who did this?" he whispered. And then, from somewhere deep in the trees, came the sound of laughter, low, broken, and childlike. Thomas backed away, clutching his lantern. His voice cracked, "Who's there?" Silence. Then a whisper, "You took him." Thomas spun around. No one, but the whisper came again, this time from the water. The ripples formed shapes, faint, almost faces. Joao's face among them, eyes wide and glassy. He dropped the idol he'd taken days earlier. It hit the ground with a thud. The jungle seemed to sigh in relief. But then, to his horror, the idol began to pulse, faintly glowing as if alive. The air grew heavy. The trees seemed to lean closer. He turned and ran, blindly, branches tearing at his clothes, insects swarming his skin. He ran until his legs gave out, collapsing beside the river once more. There, half buried in the mud, was something that shouldn't have been there. A pocket watch. His watch, but it was already ticking. Thomas stared at it, confusion twisting into terror, because the hands weren't moving forward, they were moving backward. Thomas woke at dawn to the sound of voices, faint, melodic, and almost human. His clothes were still damp from the night before, the mud on his hands now cracked and stiff. The watch he'd found still ticked steadily backward, each click sounding like a heartbeat counting down instead of up. He followed the voices. They led him along the river until the trees opened into a clearing. And there it was, a village that wasn't on any map. Huts made of woven reeds stood in neat circles, smoke rising from fires that burned without wood. Children played near the water's edge, though their laughter seemed hollow, like echoes through a cave. And the adults, they watched him with the stillness of predators. "Boa tarde," Thomas called, his Portuguese trembling. "I'm lost. I need help." An old man stepped forward. His face was painted in streaks of white clay, and around his neck hung a necklace of teeth, human teeth. He studied Thomas for a long moment, then pointed at the pocket watch in his hand. "Tempo," the man said softly. It returned. Thomas frowned. You know this?" The old man nodded. "It was taken. The river remembers." The villagers gathered around him now, murmuring in a language Thomas didn't recognize. Some knelt. Others reached out to touch his clothes, not with reverence, but curiosity, as though confirming he was real. One woman pressed her palm against his chest. Her eyes widened. "His heart," she whispered, still beating. Thomas pulled away, unnerved. "I just want to get out of here." The old man shook his head. "There is no out. The river keeps what it is owed." A sudden wind swept through the clearing, carrying with it a stench of decay. The villagers turned their faces toward the sky, murmuring a single word in unison, Kirupara. The old man looked back at Thomas. "You angered him when you took the idol, the guardian of the forest. He does not forgive theft." Thomas's throat tightened. "I didn't know." "Knowledge does not matter to spirits," the man interrupted. "Only debt." That night, they gave him food, roasted roots and thick stew that tasted of metal. As darkness fell, he sat by the fire, listening to drums echo from the trees. The rhythm was hypnotic, and for a moment, he swore he saw faces in the flames. Joao's among them, mouth moving but silent. The old man sat beside him. "You carry his mark now," he said, nodding to Thomas's arm. Thomas looked down. His veins glowed faintly beneath the skin, pulsing in rhythm with the backward ticking watch. Panic seized him. "What's happening to me?" "You are being remembered," the old man whispered. "The forest forgets no one." Thomas dropped the bowl, heart racing. The drums grew louder, faster, until they seemed to come from inside his skull. He clutched his head and screamed. When he opened his eyes again, the fire was gone. The huts were gone. The village was gone. Only the river remained, silent, endless, and watching. And beside him, half buried in the mud, was the idol once more. This time it was smiling. When Thomas woke, he was lying in shallow water, the drone blinking faintly beside him, half submerged, still recording. The timestamp on the screen made his blood run cold. June 12th, 2016. But that couldn't be right. He'd entered the forest in 2023. He stared at the mud-stained reflection of his own face. Older, gaunter, eyes sunken as though years had passed overnight. The watch still ticked backward, each click echoing through the jungle like a countdown to something he couldn't yet name. "Time doesn't move here," he muttered to himself. "It eats." The idol was gone, but the sense of being watched had not left. Every movement in the trees seemed deliberate, every whisper of leaves purposeful. The forest felt like an organism, breathing around him, waiting for him to act. He pushed forward, following the riverbank, hoping to find some landmark, some trace of the village. But the jungle had rearranged itself. Trees leaned inward where they hadn't before. Paths vanished behind walls of vines. Even the sun seemed to shift unnaturally fast, leaping from one side of the sky to another, then freezing in place. He came upon a clearing where the mud glistened as though alive. Kneeling beside it, he noticed movement, faint, rhythmic. It was a reflection of a man, waist deep in water. But when Thomas turned around, there was no one there. "Joao," he whispered. The reflection raised its head. It was Joao, his brother, but not as he remembered him. His face was pale, translucent, his eyes black hollows. And yet, around his wrist, the same silver watch gleamed, ticking backward in perfect sync with Thomas's own. Thomas stumbled back, heart hammering. No, you're dead. You drowned." Joao smiled weakly. His lips didn't move, but his voice, slid into Thomas's mind like a whisper beneath the surface. "You shouldn't have come back." Thomas's breath caught. "I didn't come back. I never left." The reflection's smile faltered. Behind Joao, dark shapes began to emerge. Outlines of other faces, dozens of them, maybe hundreds. Men, women, children, all half buried in the mud, eyes open, watching. The river's current swirled around them like breath. "They remember," Joao's voice echoed. "The forest doesn't bury its dead. It keeps them." Thomas's watch cracked suddenly. The second hand snapped off and began spinning in circles beneath the glass. The river shimmered, and he saw, for a fleeting moment, the truth. The faces weren't reflections. They were bodies beneath the water, preserved perfectly, untouched by decay, trapped in the moment of death. Thomas dropped the drone and ran. Branches whipped at his face, roots clawed at his ankles, but he didn't stop. Every breath felt like the forest inhaling him, drawing him deeper into its lungs. He fell again, and when he lifted his head, he was standing on the same riverbank as before. Same mud, same water, same reflection. The forest had looped time itself, and now, the reflection in the river wasn't Joao anymore. It was him. The next morning, or what felt like morning, Thomas awoke to a strange silence. No insects, no birds, no rustling trees. The jungle, once alive with unbearable sound, had fallen completely still. Even the river beside him had stopped flowing. Its surface shimmered like glass, reflecting the sky above, a dull gray that offered no light and no warmth. The drone, miraculously, still blinked red beside him. Its propellers were caked in mud, but it was still recording. Thomas picked it up with trembling hands, the screen flickering as if protesting against time itself. "If anyone finds this," he began, his voice hoarse, I don't know where I am, or when I am. The coordinates don't make sense. The river, it keeps changing. The forest, it remembers. Everything here remembers." He pointed the camera toward the river, where faint shapes moved just below the surface. Human silhouettes, preserved in eerie stillness. Their faces were turned upward, as though trapped mid-breath. The water was clear, unnaturally so, and Thomas could see Joao's face among them. His brother's lips barely parted, as if whispering through the current. "They said time was a circle," Thomas whispered to himself. "But it's not. It's a river. And this place, this is where it folds." He turned the drone back to his own face, pale, hollow, his eyes flickering between panic and a strange calm. "If you're watching this," he said slowly, "then I never made it out. But something did. Something wearing my face. Something with my watch." The recording cut for a moment. Static filled the air. Then, suddenly, the footage resumed, showing Thomas standing at the river's edge, his expression blank. The watch on his wrist was ticking backward faster now, the glass fogging from within. Behind him, the jungle pulsed like a living thing. He reached into the mud and pulled something out, another watch, identical to his own. Its second hand moved forward, steady and rhythmic. He stared at it, then looked up at the camera. "I think this was mine," he said faintly. "Or maybe it will be." A moment later, the ground beneath him shifted. The mud rippled like breathing skin. He stumbled, fell forward, and the watch slipped from his hand, sinking slowly, almost peacefully, into the water. As it disappeared, the drone's red light blinked one final time and went dark. For 7 years, no one knew what happened to Thomas Hale. The Amazon had swallowed hundreds before him, and his name became just another whispered mystery. But then, 7 years later, a local fisherman dredged up something strange from the riverbank after a flood. A drone, coated in silt but miraculously intact. Its last recorded footage was exactly what you've just heard. And beside it, buried deep in the mud, lay a silver wristwatch. Still ticking, still counting backward. Some stories don't end, they echo. They whisper across years, across the boundaries of life and time, waiting for someone to listen. The Amazon doesn't forget. It doesn't forgive. It remembers what it consumes. And sometimes it's in a heartbeat back. For more stories like this, like and subscribe to this channel using the link below.